Well, hello there, ladies. How are you guys doing today? Well, today is not Monday. Today is actually Thursday. I normally tape on a Monday, but so much has been going on, ladies. So many good things, so many great things. So unfortunately, I had to push it back just a little bit. But no matter what, I'm always going to try to get something out here for you, ladies, because we need help on our health, and we need to make sure that we stay healthy. So I hope that you guys had a great weekend. I hope that you took care of yourselves and that you spoiled yourself, because that's what we need, right? We have to take care of ourselves, because as women, if we don't take care of ourselves, it makes us very stressed out. So, and then stress can lead to sickness, and we don't want that. So the more that we enjoy our lives and take care of ourselves and sometimes be a little selfish, the better off we are. So I know that you know what's coming next, that you guys are absolutely beautiful. I love saying that. I do. I really, you have no idea. I call everyone beautiful. That's a woman. Because again, we have so much to offer. And a lot of times we're not always appreciated, right? So, we sometimes deal with the insecurities of not feeling beautiful, not feeling, sometimes like a woman, because we have so much on our plate and we're so busy with so many different things. And it's good to hear sometimes that, yes, I am beautiful. So you are beautiful to me. I don't care what size you are. I don't care if you're tall or if you're short. I find you to be absolutely gorgeous. Okay? So if no one else told you that today, I hope that I'm the first one to tell you that. And if it means I have to tell you every single week, I will do just that. So you ladies are listening to the Estrogen Chronicles. Her plate, her power, and I am your host, functional nutritionist, Gail Thorpe, here at your service, and I'm also your health detective, making sure to get to the bottom line of your health using preventionary measures as well as long-term goals. And I want you guys right now to grab your pen and paper. I want you to relax. I want you to have your tea or coffee, and if you want a little glass of wine, that's okay too, because we're about to get into it. Okay, ladies. So we have covered so many awesome, great topics. I love bringing this podcast to you guys and teaching you guys on some ways that you can take care of your health, that you can do some things naturally, and you can use the power of your plate, which basically means the power of eating your foods and the foods that can help you, right? Because I have to be honest. Unfortunately, women's health today is often overlooked. And I say that because I've actually had experienced things myself. That, I had some issues and it wasn't taken care of right away. But it's unfortunate that when we go to a health practitioner, a lot of times it's just overlooked on some things that we deal with as women, right? And it's also mistaken for other things sometimes. So we are left with unresolved issues. And not all the time do we need a medication, and not all the time do we always have to, get a prescription for some type of outpatient surgery or whatever. Sometimes it's just some natural changes that we can do that can actually help us to feel better, right? And that's why I love so much what I do, and that is getting to the bottom line of our health, because that is so much needed. So today's topic I want to talk about is your gut. I have covered a lot of different things in this podcast, and a lot of the stuff that I've talked about has also tied into what? Your gut. So what better way today than to bring out the whole thing about the gut and how important that is. Okay? So, the gut isn't just about digestion. It's actually a common center for your immunity, for your hormones, and even your mood. Did you know that? That your gut can determine your mood? Yeah, I'm telling you guys, I give the goods here. So a balanced gut microbiome, which is a collection of bacteria that's living in your intestines, actually helps to regulate your estrogen. It helps to maintain a strong immune system and produce key nutrients like vitamin B and short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation. So for women, okay, gut health is especially key because it directly affects our vaginal flora, our hormone metabolism, and overall energy balance. Okay, now you can see just from briefly what I just said, how that ties into us. Now, how many times have you gone to the doctor and they've actually explained that you must keep your gut healthy because it's tied into your hormones, it's tied into your vaginal flora? You know, not many times. I probably never have they talked about that. So that's why I'm here, because we're going to talk these type of things here at the Estrogen Chronicles. So what exactly is gut dysbiosis? So gut dysbiosis means bad bacteria has actually outnumbered the good one. Okay? Now, this imbalance can happen due to a few things. It can happen due to poor diet, which is high in sugar and low in fiber, antibiotic use, chronic stress, poor sleep, toxin exposure from processed foods, alcohol, or chemicals. So these are some of the things that can cause this, right? So when this balance tips, it can lead to inflammation, nutrient absorption issues, and hormone disruptions. So here you are, and you're hormonal, and you're not exactly sure why you're hormonal, right? So again, me being like I am, as a functional nutritionist that gets to the bottom line of your health, I see these cases so many times that comes across my office, right? Where women are hormonal and they're not sure what's happening, and they're having gut issues. They're having vaginal issues, and they're not even knowing that the connection between all of those issues is coming from your gut. And in the medical profession, we call the gut the second brain, because it's so important to keep it balanced, because any kind of imbalance will cause a lot of different things. Okay? So here are some of the symptoms of an unhealthy gut. Women often experience bloating or gas after meals. They may have irregular bowel movements, either constipation or possibly diarrhea. They have a lot of sugar cravings. They may have fatigue or brain fog. Now, I know you guys a lot of times I hear some of my clients say, well, I have brain fog. But did you ever think that it could be possibly tied to your gut? You see, it possibly can. They may have acne or eczema, frequent urine infections, yeast infections, so UTIs also. They may have PMS symptoms that feel worse than usual. And they may have food intolerances that develop over time. Okay? Now that's some powerful stuff, guys, because again, the gut is so hugely important to our overall health as women, right? Dealing with our hormones, dealing with our vaginal microbiome, because that's actually separate. And I actually did an episode talking about your vaginal microbiome, your pH for your microbiome. That is so important, guys. So, you see, being the detective that I am, I'm really, really getting to the bottom line of some of the reasons of why we don't feel good and why things are happening, okay? So now the gut-vaginal connection, your gut and your vagina actually communicate. It actually does. Some people don't understand that our body inside communicates with each other, right? We don't know what it's doing. We can't tell it's communicating. We can't even feel, per se, that it's communicating, but it is. So the gut actually houses bacteria that influence the vaginal microbiome through your immune and metabolic pathways. So when the gut bacteria are imbalanced, estrogen metabolism can go crazy, too high, or maybe even too low. Your vaginal pH can shift, encouraging yeast or bacterial vaginosis. Inflammation can travel from gut to reproductive organs. So a healthy gut means a balanced vaginal microbiome, fewer infections, and more comfort. Now, I wonder how many of you ladies out there that's listening to this podcast right now understood what I just said. Understood that the balanced flora of your gut can affect what's happening down below in your V-spot, as I call it. Okay? So sometimes when we have so much yeast coming, maybe odor and things of those natures, what we need to do is check out what's happening with our gut. So a balanced gut means a balanced V-spot. Okay? All right, let's move forward. So the gut helps to metabolize estrogen through a group of bacteria known as the estrobolome. Okay? Now, if these bacteria are disrupted, estrogen may recirculate instead of being eliminated. Okay? And this can lead to symptoms like PMS, mood swings, heavy periods, bloating. So a happy gut helps keep hormones like estrogen and progesterone in balance. Right? Oh my goodness. We're getting closer to figuring out what could be some of our problems. I bet you didn't know that part. You will hear me say time and time again how important it is for estrogen to also be detoxified. That is extremely important, right? So these are just some of the things that when I'm working with clients, these are some of the things that I look at, and I look at the gut. I look at what's happening there. And there are actually special testings that I can do to see exactly what's going on. Like if you have like your stomach is very imbalanced, right? Is a lot of parasites, maybe too much bacteria. I can actually test for those things, which can also help me to understand what's going on with other things that you might be dealing with. Right? So your gut, for me, is so important, and it should be important to you. Okay? So now when you see that you may have symptoms like your PMS is going wrong, you're having mood swings, heavy periods, it could be something as simple as your gut is off. Now, you know that I like to always tell you when to see your doctor. When to see the doctor when this happens. Okay? Now, if you notice persistent digestive discomfort for more than 2 weeks, unexplained fatigue or weight changes, chronic vaginal infections, skin flare-ups that don't improve, and then hormonal symptoms that feel out of control, you want to see your gastroenterologist or a functional doctor. Okay? I would say definitely maybe both, because the functional doctor, I'm a functional nutritionist, but we do have functional doctors. They will also, order testings that can dig a little bit deeper, right? But they're not going to deal with the food part that we're going to talk about soon, which is why it's so good to see someone like myself, because I can do the same testings and I can help you with the food as well. Okay? But there are definitely testings that can go a little bit further to see if you're having food intolerances. Like I said, what type of pathogens, what type of bacteria that your stomach is producing. You need to know that. You need to know that so that you can get healthy. Because if you have an imbalanced gut, 9 times out of 10, you're not working at your fullest potential. I can guarantee that. Okay? Okay. And also, who wants to have skin flare-ups that don't improve, right? Now you're noticing that you're having pimples coming out all the time, and you may have rashes that are coming from God knows where. These are the different things that can actually happen, right? And again, as women, I'm not saying that we're vain per se, but I know that our skin matters to us. We want to have good skin. We want to look good. Okay, guys. So the doctor, that when you go and take a look at seeing one, as I said, when you should see one, they're going to do a comprehensive stool test, which checks for bacteria balance, yeast, parasites, and inflammation. They also may do what they call a SIBO, S-I-B-O, breath test. This detects bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine. They also may do a hormone panel. This assesses your estrogen, your progesterone, your cortisol, and thyroid function. And they may do regular blood work to check for nutrient deficiencies or inflammation markers. And I must tell you that I can do all of those testings as well. Okay, so there's some advantages to knowing someone like me. I'm just being honest, okay? And so here are some of the treatments that may be suggested, okay? One, we're going to start with the probiotics, all right? So the probiotics will have a specific strand, like lactobacillus, or it may have other different strands, particularly to help with your gut. And then prebiotics, which is a fiber-based foods or supplements to feed your good bacteria. Technically, you should be taking a prebiotic, and you should also be taking a probiotic. I have had many people ask me that question, and yes, you should be taking both, because the prebiotic actually helps to feed the good bacteria. We want to keep the good bacteria fed. We want to keep it healthy, right? Because your body automatically is going to have bacteria. It's going to have good and bad. The goal is for it to not have so much of the bad. Your gut should not have too much of the bad, because that's where the problem comes from. But we want to make sure and keep the good healthy, right? So the prebiotic is what helps to keep the good bacteria healthy. Okay? All right. So antimicrobials and antifungals, if overgrowth is severe, okay? Because sometimes it can be. If you've been experiencing a lot of gut issues over a long period of time, sometimes you're going to need even a little bit more, because you have so much of an overgrowth, right? So that needs to be taken care of. And then gut healing nutrients like L-glutamate, zinc, and aloe vera. These things can actually heal the gut in a natural capacity, but it actually works. Okay? All right, ladies. So now we're going to talk about taking back our plate. And you know what that means. And I always explain it too, because maybe someone new today is listening. When we say her plate is her power, we mean the nutrients, what you put on your plate. In other words, what you're eating. What you're eating, no matter what you're going through. Okay? nutrition plays a role. Nutrition can actually help to prevent whatever you're going through, or if you're already going through it, it can help you to maintain a healthy body, a healthy digestive system. It can help with healthy hormones, right? And for long-term maintenance, okay, nutrition is a lifestyle. So that's what we talk about here. So there's so much power in your plate, and lack of nutrition can also do a lot of damage, right? So the goal, though, is for us to understand the important roles of nutrition in helping us to go through what we're going through or prevent from it happening from the beginning, okay? So that's how we take back our plate, okay? Because there's power in it. So we want to focus on, for a healthy gut, we want to focus on a variety of fibers. So also fermented foods like kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and yogurt. And then for prebiotics that we just talked about, foods like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, oats, and bananas. And then for our fiber-rich foods, we want to focus on, having chia seeds, flax seeds, lentils, and leafy greens. Okay? And then we want to also focus on polyphenol foods like berries, olive oil, and green tea. Okay? If we focus in on these type of things, then we can definitely help to have a balanced gut, which will cause us to be much more healthier and prevent some of the things that we just talked about. Now, foods that we need to avoid or cut back on. We already know some of these because I've already talked about them, and this is pretty universal no matter what happens, right? So we want to take a look at processed foods, and we either want to cut back on it or completely get rid of it. I know for myself, too much processed foods definitely affects my gut immediately. So for me, going to McDonald's every day or once a month, I can't even do that. I can't even do it. I haven't had McDonald's in years, right? Because McDonald's affects my gut. It really does. Sugar and artificial sweeteners. We talked about many times how the sugar is not good for our health. It's not good for our gut as well. Alcohol, especially wine and beer, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that you cannot have these things. Because remember, I said you either want to cut back or you want to completely get rid of. But you definitely want to know what can cause a disruption in the gut. And sometimes, even though wine can be considered more of a healthier alcohol, it can affect your gut. And also beer. We know from beer, because we see many times, especially on men, for instance, they may have a beer belly. Okay? But guess what? Women can have that too. Especially if you're, as a woman, if you're drinking a lot of beer, you can get a beer belly yourself. Okay? So those things can affect refined carbs. So white breads and pastries. Fried or high fast foods, as we just talked about. So fast foods is like processed foods. All of that can affect your gut. Like I said, for me, I can't have it. I can't. I really cannot. I think I can probably have something like that once every 5 years because it really affects me. My gut is extremely sensitive. So that's why this topic, I wanted to get this out here because that's how important it is. Okay, guys. So some helpful supplements that you can take, like we talked about probiotics. So you want to definitely do a multi-strain probiotic. You want to make sure that it does include lactobacillus. Okay? That's really important. And then the prebiotics, right? Which can include, of course, the fiber or partially hydrolyzed guar gum. Okay? Guar gum. So that, we want to have that as well. digestive enzymes to help break down proteins and fats and carbs. And I tell you guys, I cannot do without my digestive enzymes because if I let my gut go, I'm definitely more of a sensitive gut person. So it's important for me to have those digestive enzymes to be able to process the foods that I'm eating, right? And I've noticed that if I run out and I don't have it, here comes stomach problems. Also, you want to do L-glutamine for gut lining repair. And omega-3s, which of course you probably have learned by now, helps in inflammation reduction. Okay? Now, some lifestyle changes that you guys can do, ladies, to help with support the gut health. You want to make sure to eat slowly and mindfully. So I always tell my clients how important that is as far as eating slowly. Because what happens is this. Picture this, actually. When we tend to eat, let's say, in front of a TV, and we're watching a movie, we're watching a soap opera or talk show, whatever we're watching. Have you noticed that if you have a plate of food while you're watching it, you finish it really quickly? Right? You finish it really quickly. And actually, that's not a good thing because you're eating faster because you're enjoying the show and you're enjoying your meal, so you're eating it faster. And the next thing you know, you finish eating, but your body hasn't even had a chance to process everything, right? It hasn't even had a chance to thoroughly digest it. And then the next thing you know, you want something else. You're hungry again because your body is still trying to process what you just had. And you ate it so fast that it just is taking time. So you want something again. So sometimes when we start to gain weight and, we look at our lifestyle, if we're eating in front of a TV or what's happening now is people are eating while they're on social media. So whether you're on social media, like talking on social media, or whether you're listening or just looking, people are eating, right? And again, you're eating so fast that next thing you know, you're hungry again. And then when you're hungry again, you're going to get something else to eat. So now you're sitting there wondering, how the heck did I gain this 10 pounds or 5 pounds or 20 or more? Well, how did that happen? Take a look at your lifestyle. So I always tell my clients what you want to do is eat slowly. Preferably not in front of anything, not in front of a TV, not in front of looking at social media or your phone. It's fine to have maybe some music playing in the background if you like, but eating slowly and mindfully, where your mind is just focusing on the food, you will find that not only will you get full quicker, not only will your body will be able to process the food, you will find that your gut is going to be happy, right? Because it's going to be able to do what it does. It's going to be able to digest. Give me a moment, guys. Okay. Your body's going to be able to digest itself much better. Right? And that's what we want, because when we have bad digestion, it's the worst. So we can get, influx of acid influx and all kind of stuff can happen, right? And that's what that means. It's your body, your stomach is not digesting correctly. And so all kind of things start to happen. So we want to eat slowly and mindfully, and preferably not in front of anything. Just, even if you're outside, that's great. Even if you're outside looking through the woods, if you happen to live by the woods, anything like that, where you can just process and focus on the food. Okay? The other thing is manage stress, meditation, breath work, dancing, Yes, dancing. Dancing helps. You've heard me talk about that, and you also heard me talking to you about the fact that I love dancing. Dancing is my thing. Some people don't like to dance, and that's fine. You don't have to dance. But the goal here is managing stress. And you've heard me talk about this. I've actually did an episode about stress and what it does to our bodies. And one thing stress will do is affect our stomach. It will affect our stomach. Have you noticed when you're under a lot of stress, you tend to use the bathroom a lot, especially with diarrhea? And some people, it may be even with constipation. It just depends on you and your gut, right? And your gut microbiome. We tend to have nausea when we're stressed out a lot. So managing your stress is so important. So how do we do that? We do that by making some lifestyle changes. Okay? And like I mentioned to you, the lifestyle changes is definitely doing meditation, some breath work, and dancing if you get a chance to do so. Making sure you get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Okay? Because the body repairs itself while you are sleeping. So not only is your cells and your organs helping to replenish and repair itself, your stomach is also doing the same while you're sleeping. So that's why we always tell you, get your rest. Because when you're not resting at nighttime, you're only getting an hour, maybe 2 hours of sleep. That's not enough. So what happens is the body is not able to repair itself. Now you're leading for more inflammation, which can cause illness. That's why a lot of times when people are not sleeping enough, they may have headaches a lot. They may be more irritable and moody a lot more. And they start to not feel well. Okay? Because you're not allowing your body to get the proper rest that it needs to repair itself. We want to make sure to exercise regularly. Okay? So we want to go to the gym. We want to, work out. We don't want to live a sedentary lifestyle. Okay? We don't need that because the body needs a circulation. It needs for the oxygen to flow. It needs for the blood to flow to all of the parts that's needed to help to nourish. Right? So that's important. And we want to limit unnecessary antibiotics. Now, here's the thing. I know the story is most of the time that, unfortunately, when we have a situation going on with ourselves, whether it be with our V-spot or just in general, the first thing doctors tend to do a lot of times, and I hate to say it, but this is the truth, they tend to give antibiotics a lot. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't take it if it's needed, right? But you want to be very careful because what begins to happen now is that not only does your body start to become resistant to antibiotics, it starts to affect, antibiotics literally start to affect your stomach, your microbiome in your stomach. So some people, and like I said, I'm sensitive. I have a sensitive stomach. If I take oral antibiotics, when I say oral, I mean it's in a pill form, it immediately affects me. It immediately affects my gut, right? So you have to be careful about that. And if your doctor is constantly giving you antibiotics for certain things, you have to say, wait, is there another way that we can get this taken care of without me taking so much antibiotics? Because sometimes they really can go overboard with it. So we want to be careful. I'm not saying again that you can't take it for certain things that you may actually need it, but sometimes if you notice that they're constantly giving it to you for whatever. I have a good example. For instance, when a woman has vaginosis, a lot of times the gastroenterologist will constantly give that to you because a lot of times it can come back. BV comes back a lot of times, and it comes back a lot of times because It's not addressed from the first time. So it comes back again. And there are lifestyle changes, food changes that a woman can do to prevent that. And one very important thing is dealing with the gut to help in that, right? So here they are. They're constantly giving it to you, these antibiotics, okay? But let's say this. What they're not telling you is that now your stomach is starting to be messed up more. Your microbiome is off, and you become resistant to antibiotics. So when you need them for something really major that could have happened to you, it's going to take the doctors forever to find an antibiotic to really help you. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. That's a good example that tends to happen to a lot of women. Okay? So just be careful is what I'm saying. And you also want to stay hydrated, ladies. Stay hydrated. You hear me talk about how much I drink my water. I make sure I have my water in my Diva mug that my girlfriend made for me. And I love it. When I say Diva mug, it's full of like the little crystals, right? And she made it for me. I have a Betty Boop one, and I have another one that I love that I drink out of. And, you'd be surprised. Getting like a Diva mug, a Diva tumbler rather, will help you drink more water, right? Because you're drinking out of something that looks pretty. You can, if you're not a water person, maybe try drinking hint water. I talk to my clients a lot about hint water. You can get that in the supermarkets. Hint water is just a little hint of flavor. That's why they call it hint water. I absolutely love hint water, right? It has such a refreshing taste. Try something like that. Or you can infuse your water with fruits, right? Because if you infuse it with fruits and you let it sit for a little bit, the water starts to actually absorb the tasting of the fruits, which now gives it a little flavor. So there are some things that you can do. Of course, there also are flavor tablets and things that you can get also to help the water to taste like something. So it's not so plain, but you want to stay hydrated. Okay? All right, ladies. Okay, well, we've talked about a lot of good things today about the gut, the correlation between the gut and how it affects us as ladies. Okay? Because again, that's what we are concerned about here. We know men have problems too, but that's not our space. Our space is dealing with us, right? We talked about how it ties into your gut ties into your vagina. We talked about how it ties into your hormones. And what are those? Those are things that we deal with all the time. Hormonal health, right? We always want to make sure to have our hormones in order. But as women, these are things that can affect, right? So all of this ties right into our gut. And sometimes when we are having breakouts and we're having eczema, it's not always what we may think it is. It may be because you have an imbalance of your gut. Sometimes when we're moody and we don't know why we're moody, or we're having all these different PMS symptoms, it is tied into the gut. So we must always get the gut in order by having probiotics, by having prebiotics. And you can also take a probiotic for your vaginal area, okay? Because they're actually two different strains, right? So you can take a probiotic and take a probiotic for your vaginal microbiome as well, too, to help keep odor at bay, right? To help keep your vaginal, your V-spot clean and nice, right? So these are some of the things that we want to know. We want to make sure how we can handle. What can we do? So I'm hoping that this right here today gave you some new revelations on some things that you might be dealing with and had no clue that it could be coming from your gut. I'm telling you guys, your gut is so important. So it is linked to a lot of things. So we want to get that gut in order. Okay? So we've come to that part, ladies, where I always have a gift for you. Okay? I have a juice that is called the gut restoring juice. Okay? It's gentle, it's delicious, and it's designed to nourish the gut lining. Hold on 1 second, ladies. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, ladies. So this is designed to nourish the gut lining while promoting good bacteria. Okay? All right. So here are the ingredients. So we want to do 1 cup of fresh pineapple chunks, which is rich in bromelain, which is a natural digestive enzyme. When we talk about digestive enzymes, there we are. Pineapple is a natural digestive enzyme, right? We want to do 1 medium carrot, which helps support our gut microcosa. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. I'm drinking water and trying to talk at the same time. Excuse me. And it gives a vitamin A boost. We want to do 1 small knob or fresh turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory magic. We want to do a 1/2 inch piece of fresh ginger, which helps to soothe the digestion and also helps to ease bloating. We want to do a 1/2 lemon, peeled, by the way. This helps balance our pH and aids in liver detox. We want to do 1 cup of coconut water or filtered water. And this is optional. You can do a pinch of black pepper, which actually helps to enhance the turmeric for absorption. Okay? So what you want to do, excuse me, you want to add all the ingredients to a juicer or blender if you prefer a thicker consistency. You want to blend until smooth or juice. And if blending, you want to strain through a fine mesh sleeve or a nut milk bag for a lighter texture. That's if you're blending. You want to serve chilled, sip slowly, and this is actually great. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's great for a mid-morning or after a meal. Now, why does this work? This juice is full of digestive enzymes, is full of anti-inflammatory compounds, electrolytes that help to calm irritation in the gut lining. Okay? The pineapple and the ginger helps to ease bloating. The turmeric reduces gut inflammation, and the coconut water helps to restore hydration. Okay? And of course, as you know, I always say, you want to make sure you have organic stuff. That's so important. Okay? We want to get used to getting organic because we don't need any kind of preservatives, anything that can harm us. Because that also helps to create such an imbalance in our gut, having all that extra stuff. And also it helps for your food to not digest correctly, right? So we're talking about digesting our food correctly. Okay. All right, ladies. So I'm excited today. I'm excited about this topic because I know for myself I have somewhat of a sensitive gut, right? I can speak from experience how important it is to pay attention to your gut. And for me, I have to pay attention to my gut. I'm no different than you. Right? Just have a little bit more knowledge on some things when it comes down to taking back our health. Now, if you are looking for a partner in your health journey and you're not sure about how you can restore your gut, your microbiome in your gut, okay? That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So what you want to do is you want to go to www.nutritionudesign.com and you want to book a session with me. Okay? You want to book that session with me because I can help you with all of this. I can create a custom program for you, give you the supplements that you need, give you the testings that you need. I can even do genetic testing when it comes down to your gut. How about that? So I have some really good things for you. I can tell if you have food intolerances. I can also help to tell what type of pathogens is in your stomach. Okay? If you have too much of an overgrowth of bacteria, I can test for that as well. Okay? So you want to know someone like me? Yes, you do. I'm the health detective for you. Okay? So definitely go to www.nutritionudesign.com and book that appointment. Ladies, I love being here with you. I love being able to teach you some of the great things and have fun with you at the same time. And you can tell I am just real. I'm just real. I'm not here to pretend to be someone else or anything like that. I just tell you like it is and also have fun doing it. You need to be able to share this information with others. Okay? So it's so important, ladies, to share this podcast with your friends and your family members. Please share, because that helps me to stay here to help you. Right? So the more that you share and we get the word out there, not only are we helping other women to understand some of the dynamics of their health that others may not even talk about, but it also is a good information of things that they can do right now. I always make sure to give you a gift at the end. So it could be a juice, it could be a smoothie, or it could be a recipe. A dinner recipe or possibly a breakfast recipe, because I don't want you just to hear what I'm saying. I want you to start immediately on what I'm saying, right? So you can feel better. Excuse me. Okay. So please share the podcast to others and make sure that you subscribe. So this way you can know when I have a new episode that is coming out. Okay? And as I always mention, ladies, what do I always talk about? Your health is your wealth. Because again, if you're not healthy, excuse me, if you're not healthy for yourself, then how can you have wealth? Right? The true wealth is being healthy. That's the true wealth. So you want to take care of yourself, because again, that is your wealth. Having trillions of dollars is great, but if you are not here, right, to enjoy the money, or if you're sick all the time, what good is it? There is no good to it. Okay? And I also always say that not only do you want to know that your health is your wealth, but you also want to know that nutrition is not just a focus, it's actually a lifestyle. And it is a lifestyle. Lifestyle nutrition is what I basically am talking about. I'm not talking about a diet, some little fad diet that came out last week, because there's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of that out there. And I'm not a fan of those things, because I know that just eating good foods, making some lifestyle changes, not only can help you to look great, help you to lose weight, but it can make you healthy. I know a lot of people nowadays are taking a lot of shots to lose weight. But see, that's always the fast way we want to do things. But that doesn't always mean it's healthy for us. So my goal is to take you back from the beginning to being healthy and doing things to create that environment. And this way you can stick with it for the rest of your life. So it's about lifestyle nutrition. Okay? That's what we're talking about here, and taking back the power of your plate. So please, ladies, remember that always. It is a lifestyle. Make those changes and make them as soon as you can, because life is not guaranteed to any of us. And as long as I'm here, I'm always going to help to give you information, to teach you how you can be a better person within yourself to know. Now, you're already a great person, but to be better within yourself because you're healthier and you're here for your children, you're here for your husband or your boyfriend, you're here for yourself, okay? So I hope that you have enjoyed this session today, going through our gut, learning about our gut and what we can do to make our gut happy, which means it makes our V-spot happy. And if that's happy too, we're happy. So with that, ladies, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day today and for the rest of your week. Until next time, I will see you soon.